No, I mean, if you listen to any kind of conservative media, they've been talking about it a lot. It's actually a targeted campaign by the left to just go on college campuses because that's where the women are. And if you'll notice, it's kind of natural. When we're young, we're a lot more liberal. You right? Look at the Black Lives Matter. I wasn't going to none of them damn protests. I was in my house. Simping is the American way now. Women are the consumers. So you watch it from a marketing American economy perspective, everything is marketed to women. So Sir Hale said it earlier. Masculinity has now been eradicated from society. It has been demonized. Therefore, if a man shows any type of masculinity, women behave a certain way. They don't like him. They cancel him. They're calling him insecure, little dick energy, etc. You see what I'm saying? So now you're like, well, I still want women and I want to get the desired effect. How do I achieve it? And then the society basically tells you all you got to do is tell her she's just all this stuff that just leads into you being a simp. And most men are just doing it simply to get that result. So
And you know what's
absolutely.
crazy though? And then there's a lot of dudes that are faux simps. They're not even real simps. They're not even like they lying. You
That
know,
was that was me in college. That was me
they
in college.
just faux simps. They're not even real
A lot.
simps.
Nigga, you
Look,
was a slut monkey in college, man. You was a full blown slut
no,
monkey.
bro. Exactly. Well,
Yeah, you was a slut
HBCUs
monkey. Let's go ahead and admit that first.
HBCUs are simp indoctrination zones. I was raised to be one way. Okay, so that's
Listen,
who I was
if
gonna
you
end up being regardless. But you go into an HBCU, the Democrats got a strong. They paying the instructors to indoctrinate you. You holding up women's signs, breast cancer. Everything is about women. They do
Oh,
We
not
don't
care
be,
about the men
hey,
on those
look,
campuses.
Trigger, we don't be believing half the shit that we say.
Exactly.
wait a
Exactly.
The
minute.
crazy thing is that women used to ask all the time. Women ask all the time, why do men lie? Because it's easy. Why tell the truth when it's so much easier to lie?
Nah, it's not even.
Wait,
You
we got
believe
you.
it.
No. Hold on. We can't skip over two things real quick. Well, three things really. Number one, the likes are down. So get these likes up, fam. It's been a minute since I've been back in the building. Back at home. Tuesday is my favorite day of the week. So get these likes up. Hit that like. Smash the like button. Subscribe and share. Second thing, skip over the two phrases or words that have just been added to the lexicon. Sean Antonio says supplemental vagina. And then Trigger Mike said, what? Simp indoctrination zones? We can't skip over that, fam. Simp indoctrination zones.
They're
Hey,
giving out grants. They're
wait.
giving out grants under
Just for
that
distinction.
designation.
Just really quick, just for distinction though. We got because the reason why I asked when we get to talking simping, because I'm more familiar with Madison and the activity over there on the west side with Pippin and Home, right? So I understand simping to be something completely different. I understand sucker activity. And so that's why I make the distinction. But I get it. It's tomato semantics. But go ahead, Trigger Trig. Tell us about the simp indoctrination.
I mean, no. I mean, if you listen to any kind of conservative media, they've been talking about it a lot. It's actually a targeted campaign by the left to just go on college campuses because that's where the women are. And if you'll notice, it's kind of natural. When we're young, we're a lot more liberal. You right? Look at the Black Lives Matter. I wasn't going to none of them damn protests. I was in my house. I knew what those young people were gonna do. I knew they were gonna smash some shit up. And I'm telling everybody, like, can you believe they was shooting up? Yeah, because as I grew up, I became more conservative and understood people's behavior better. Right?
Hold on, Trigger. Hold on, wait. Before you say that, no, I don't think you became older. That's why you became more conservative. You started getting more stuff, and you became more conservative. The more stuff people acquire, the more conservative they get. Next thing you know, they moving to. Next thing you know, they moving to Texas and Indiana and Republican states. Talking about, hey, look.
Hey, I don't appreciate you calling me out subtly, Sweeney. I see what you did there.
Yep. Next thing you sound like y'all gonna sound like the guy that was at our homeowners orientation talking about yes, sir. What who do I call to get these young kids that be walking down the street from the high school to get them in line? I'm like, bro, you call the police. Shit, that's who you call. But he was on one that day. Who do you call to stop the people from shitting in your yard? I'm like, stop the dogs. You know what I mean? So like, and he sounded like one of them like vapid Republican. And you know what I mean? Like the more shit you tend to get, the more conservative you get.
Yeah.
Swinny gonna have his cowboy hat on soon. Cal Jones, go ahead and answer the question. Are relationships transactional?
Yeah, I would definitely say that I agree with those gentlemen on the idea that relationships are transactional. And I think that even the concept of simping, it goes right in line with Sweeney's question when he asked, why do you think that she had such an issue admitting that relationships are transactional? And I think that if you really look at what simping is what we used to call tricking, right? And what is a 304? 304 is a woman who turns tricks. And what she essentially does is she keeps you in the dark about the fact that the relationship is transactional so that she can take advantage of you and trick you. She can get a larger benefit from the transaction. So essentially, I think that's what a simp is. A simp is someone who doesn't realize that relationships are transactional, therefore is not in a position to negotiate. Having game is essentially just having good negotiating skills. You have the ability to sell yourself and get what you want out of the transaction, as opposed to just entering into the transaction without expecting anything in return. So I absolutely think that relationships are transactional. I think women have been aware of this their entire lives, which is why they say, like even Tupac was saying, we got our game from a woman. A lot of times you won't know that relationships are transactional unless you learn it from a woman, unless your mom tells you, unless you're observing women. But women from a young age very much learn, hey, to get something in return. They're asking a guy to hold their books. They're asking that little boy in class, let me get one of your lollipops. It's just that boys don't tend to learn that until later in life. And I actually think that that's kind of like the entire premise of the whole red pill manosphere, if you think about it. Like one of the questions that made this red pill manosphere thing go crazy in the past few years was the simple question, what do you bring to the table? Which is essentially men saying, hey, I realize at this point that this is transactional. So now that I'm sitting here at the table and we're both about to eat at this table, what are you bringing to this transaction? Because I'm realizing we're both sitting at this table, but all the food that's on it is what I brought. So and this is supposed to be more like a potluck. You got to bring something, I got to bring something. So I feel like that's really the premise of the red pill. That's the premise of the manosphere. It's men coming to the realization that relationships are transactional, and now learning the skills to properly
try to
bargain for what
negotiate.
they want.
Yeah.
Trying to negotiate, exactly.
Hey, Clout, you hit the nail on the head, bro. We can move on to the next topic off of that, bro. That you don't even need nothing else need to be said.
I still had to get to Hink and Luis. Hink, you went already, right? Did you go? Okay. Luis, you ain't go, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I agree with a lot of what the gentleman has shared. Relationships are transactional. And I think that a lot of young men are not really hip to that. They don't really get taught that or brought that up at a very young age. And sort of one of the things that, having value and creating value, right? It gets you more access. It gets you around to more other people. People find you desirable in many different ways, right? Which also exposes you to other things and opens up other doors. But as far as relationships is concerned, men have to create their value. Men have to go out there, scrape, crawl, fight, garner and create their value. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's in trade, whether it's military, whether it's, creating their own business, you have to create your value and add value back to your community and society. Women, you must preserve your value. Take care of yourself, eat well, go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? So associate yourself around other, marriage-minded women who you would like to mirror and have the type of outcomes that they have, right? And sort of, we both understand the assignment. It's just that we tend to kind of like act like we don't. And women have understood this very well because think about it, to Sir Hale's point earlier, there's women out here who have a food guy, a move my furniture guy, a fix my light bulb guy, you know what I'm saying, Friday night dinner guy, and then right? These women have already a bunch of dudes in different positions, right? And none of them are getting any ass except maybe one, right? They put themselves in a position where they've cornered the market. And sort of going back to what Trigger Mike was saying, you know, simping is the bloodline of the economy. If every man stopped simping tomorrow, restaurants were shut down, movie theaters will close, a lot of businesses will go out of business because dudes is not pulling out. They're not spending money. They're not tricking. Even if they got it, they're not going to entertain it. You know what I'm saying? I've even went so far to say that even if men stop liking and commenting on women's IG posts tomorrow and go months without giving no attention or validation, I promise you, the mental health crisis will go up through the roof faster than the stock market went down at the beginning of the pandemic.
You know what's crazy, Louis?
That's a fact.
I think it's already happening. How many clubs have we been seeing closing and opening and closing and opening because ain't nobody in there buying drinks no more? How many of these movie theaters that we done lost so many movie theaters because ain't nobody going to them no more. Restaurants been opening and closing, you know what I mean, left and right because ain't nobody going to them. I mean, shoot, we see the women. Well, yeah, we see the women right now complaining about how dudes just want to come to the crib, and even the simps nowadays are like, "Hey, look, man, the most I'm gonna give you is a coffee date and some Netflix and chill."